everyone, I am Lavanya, your storytelling buddy from Karadi Path Education Company. This literature fest by Get Set Parent, I am going to tell you a story about a little lizard who goes shopping for a tail. So children, are you ready to listen to it? The name of the story I am going to tell you is The Lizard's Tale. The Lizard's Tale is authored by Shobha Vishwanath and illustrated by Christine Castle. Let's have a look at the book. Isn't it beautiful, children? This book is published by Karadi Tales. Now let's listen to the story. And here we go. Do you like lizards? I love lizards. And today I have with me my 4 little lizard friends who I'd like to introduce you to. This is the chameleon. Chameleons have long gooey tongues that they use to catch their prey. This is the Komodo dragon. Komodo dragons are the largest reptiles you will find on planet Earth. This one is the iguana. Can you look at the spikes on its back? They're lovely. And here we have the gecko, our hero today. Our little hero, the gecko, loved to explore. He would hop from one room to another and scoot through drawers and shelves. This guy lived in a little girl's house. One day, the little girl came looking for her skipping rope, and she opened the drawer, peered into it, and not finding one, closed it shut. The little friend of ours was just trying to escape, and right then, squish! His tail had gotten chopped off, and Gecko was crying in pain. Gecko ran to his mother wailing, "Ma, look at this. I have lost my tail. What do I do now, Ma?" Mother was calm. She just told Gecko one thing. "Dear Gecko, wait and watch, and in no time you will bear a new look." Gecko wondered. A new look? What does mother mean? Maybe I'll have to go shopping for a tail? Gecko had 3 best friends, the squirrel, the cow and the elephant. He first went to the squirrel. The squirrel was sitting on a chiku tree and nibbling on a chiku and looked at Gecko approach. Our little Gecko scurried across to the squirrel. He went to the squirrel and asked him, hoping for the squirrel to give him his tail. The squirrel had a soft, bushy, parachute-like tail that looked beautiful. Our little Gecko very hesitantly approached the squirrel and asked, "Dear squirrel, I love your tail. It's so bushy and soft and fluffy. Can you see, I've lost my own little tail. It got chopped off." "Squirrel, can you please sell your tail to me?" asked our little Gecko. The squirrel gasped. "A tail for sale? Are you serious, Gecko? You know I would have loved to help you, but if not for this tail, can you see those 3 naughty monkeys? They're just waiting for a chance to get onto me. And if not for the tail, I would fall off the tree. This tail acts like a parachute, and when I jump from one branch of the tree to another, I glide and land very smoothly." So children, this is not how the conversation happened. You know something? The squirrel and the lizard sang to each other. And now I am going to sing the song for you. Would you like to sing with me? Here we go. Ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na. Hey little lizard, what's up with you? Would you like some nuts or a chiku? Sang the squirrel. The lizard responded to her. "No, dear squirrel, I don't want a chiku. I don't want nuts. No thank you. I seem to have lost my own little tail. Can I buy yours? Is it for sale? Asked the lizard. But you know what happened? The squirrel couldn't spare her tail. And our gecko sighed in disappointment. But nevertheless, he had 2 more friends that he could approach, and very hopeful, he approached the cow. The cow was chewing the cud. And right then, our gecko very hesitantly raced to the cow. The cow, who had a long, thin, whip-like tail, looked at Gecko and understood that something was wrong. The cow asked Gecko, "Hey dear Gecko, what's bothering you? You look very sad." Gecko finally clears his throat and tells the cow, "Cow, you see, I've lost my tail, and your tail is so beautiful. I can see that it's long and thin and whip-like. I wish to have your tail. Could you please sell me your tail, dear cow?" The cow gasped, "Sell my tail? Oh dear Gecko, I wish I could do that. But do you see these flies on my back? If not for my whip-like tail, these flies would bother me all day long. With the help of my long, thin tail, I shoo them away. I wish I could have sold you my tail, dear Gecko. I am so sorry." But children, this is not how the conversation happened between them. The cow and the gecko sang to each other. And do you want to learn this song? Come on, sing with me. "Hey little lizard, what brings you here?" The cow was a gentle animal and always sang softly. "Hey little lizard, what brings you here? Do you want some hay? Come, come, come near." This is what the cow sang to our little gecko. And do you know what Gecko responded? He said, "No, dear cow, I don't want hay. I don't want milk. I just want to say, I seem to have lost my own little tail. Can I buy yours? Is it for sale?" And so they sang to each other, and yet another disappointment for our little gecko. But he was very hopeful that he would definitely find a new tail to bear a new look. Disappointed but hopeful, Gecko set off to meet his elephant friend. But on his way, he met 3 street dogs who had beautiful curly tails. And Gecko thought to himself, "How would I look in their tails? The beautiful curly tails? Let me ask them." Thinking this, Gecko darted towards them. This is the conversation they had. "Hey black dogs, I've lost my tail. I like your curly ones. Are they for sale?" "Listen, strange lizard, hasn't your mother taught you anything? Tails for sale, ha, indeed. Have you lost your mind as well with your tail?" The street dogs were very rude, weren't they, children? Gecko was very sad, but gathered all his courage and set off to meet elephant friend. And on his way again, he met the cat. The cat was stretching on the wall. Gecko thought he'd give it a last try. He asked the cat very politely, "Miss Cat, can I ask you something?" Now the cat, I told you, was very old and was deaf, and Gecko didn't know that. The cat pretended to have heard everything Gecko said and nodded. Gecko, excitedly hopeful, asked the cat, Cat, I've lost my tail. I want a new tail. I can see you have a beautiful curly soft tail. And if I have your tail, I could look different like mother said. Do you think the cat understood anything that Gecko said? No. Why? The cat even thought that Gecko was here to sell tails. Gecko, poor guy, was clueless, but the cat didn't give up. The cat asked Gecko if he had the Siamese tail, the Himalayan tail, why, even the Persian tail. And disappointed that Gecko didn't have any of it, the cat went away. But for Gecko, he was extremely sad and upset. He almost started weeping in disappointment and walked towards the temple. At the temple, Gecko finally met his elephant friend. The elephant was huge but gentle. He had long floppy ears that flapped away and a tiny little tail that swayed away. Gecko noticed the tail and hesitantly approached the elephant. Now the elephant also noticed Gecko from the corner of his eye and asked him, Gecko, you look very troubled. What's the matter, kid? Would you like some plantains or some bananas? Tell me, come here. Now Gecko had almost lost it by now and he started crying to elephant. Elephant, I don't want plantains. Why is everybody trying to feed me? The cow asked me if I wanted hay. The squirrel asked me if I wanted chicos and nuts. No, I don't want anything to eat. You see, I've lost my own little tail, elephant, and all I hope for is a new tail. Can you please give me your tail? Is it for sale, dear elephant? Asked Gecko. Now, the elephant had a big laugh. Oh dear Gecko, what do I say, you poor kid? You wanted all our tails, but did you spare a minute to imagine how you'd look in our tails? That would have been so funny. Imagine yourself in a squirrel's tail, dear Gecko. Why? Even the cow's tail. What were you planning to do? Shoo away all the insects or catch them and eat them? You little kid, don't worry. I'm going to tell you something that you need to follow immediately. Now go back to your mother and ask her what to do. And do not cry because your mother will give you the perfect solution for your lost tail. Now Gecko was confused. He wondered. Elephant not only denied him his tail but also laughed at all the efforts he'd put in finding one. But as Elephant suggested, Gecko went to his mother and asked her, Ma, you told me I'd bear a new look, isn't it? I don't find anybody giving me a tail. You know what? I went shopping for a tail, Ma. Ma asked Gecko, shopping for a what, Gecko? I went shopping for a tail, Ma. Ma had a good laugh. Oh, poor Gecko. You silly goose. When I said you'd bear a new look, I did not mean you'd have to go shopping for a tail, you little fellow. All I'd meant was wait and watch. Now Gecko was taken aback at what Ma said. He told Ma, but all day I went to so many people looking for a new tail. You know who I met? I met the squirrel, I met the cow, I even met the street dogs who were so rude to me. And then I went to the old cat on the wall and finally went to Elephant who asked me to come back to you. And you say all I had to do was wait and watch? I am confused, Ma. I want a new look. How do I do that? Asked Gecko. Ma just said one thing. Dear Gecko, turn around and look for yourself? Our gecko, clueless of what Ma had just meant, turned around slowly to find that his own little tail had grown into a beautiful looking one. And that day, Gecko realized that he was beautiful in his own little way, and that is exactly what Ma had meant too, that he would bear a new look. As for Gecko, he was very careful when he went exploring. And children, I am sure you are going to be careful too with lizards around you, because we don't want any of our lizard friends lose their tails again. I hope you loved the story as much as I did telling it to you. Now, my friend Anne will tell you another story with a twist in the tale. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone. I'm Anne, your storytelling buddy from Karadi Path Education Company. For this Children's Literature Fest by Get Set Parent, I'm going to tell you a very funny and special story about 7 little children and their favorite treat. Would you like to listen to the story? The story is called Kutti and the Mouse. It's written by Shobha Vishwanath and beautifully illustrated by Malavika PC. This book is published by Karadi Tales. Let's dive right into the story. The story is about 7 little children and their favorite treat. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there lived 7 little children near a tiny burrow. Would you like to meet them and say hello? Here comes Kannan. Here comes Komu. Here comes Koyal. Here comes Kartik. Here comes Kausi. Here comes Kumar. And here comes little Kutti. Did you say hello to the children? One day, as the 7 little children were playing outside their home, Kannan picks up on a delicious aroma. Enchanted by this sweet smell, he follows the aroma and it leads him into the kitchen. Kannan walks into the kitchen and what he sees there brings a big smile to his face. Eee! What do you think Kannan saw? Let me tell you. Kannan saw his amma making korakates. Have you heard of korakates? It's a sweet and delicious treat. I have one with me right here. See? It's a soft, plump and juicy snack. It's white on the outside and filled with a sweet jaggery and coconut mixture. Children, what other food do you think looks like a korkate? Think. I think rasgullas look like korkates. So think of some more food which look like korkates. One evening, Amma made 7 sweet korkates. She filled them with coconut, stuffed it with jaggery and flavored it with cardamom. She cooked them until they were gleaming. There were 7 sweet korkates on a shining steel plate. 7 korkates for 7 little children. One was for Kannan. One was for Komu. One was for Kuyil. One was for Kartik. One was for Kausi. One was for Kumar. And one was for little Kutti. Amma picks up her bag, straightens her sari and says, "I'm going out, children. Don't eat the korkattes until I return. Okay?" As soon as Amma left, 5 of the children crept into the kitchen. Do you want to find out who comes in? First came Kannan. Then came Komu. Then came Kuyil. Then came Kartik. And finally, little Kausi crept into the kitchen. They took one korikatte each, popped it into their mouths, licked their fingers, wiped them on their clothes and left happily. So children, tell me this. How many korikattes are remaining on the steel plate? That's right. There are 2 korikattes left on the plate. Playful little Kumar comes into the kitchen and he sees 2 shining juicy korikattes on the steel plate. He reaches out and takes one. He pops it into his mouth and takes a deep breath. And then he bites into it. The korikatte bursts open. He can smell the cardamom. He can taste the sweet jaggery. And he can feel the coconut juice on his tongue. It's so tasty, said Kumar. Do you all want to act like Kumar and say, it's so tasty? Shall we do it together? 1, 2, 3. It's so tasty. Very good. Now let's see what happens next. Our playful little Kumar grabbed the last korikatte, which was meant for dear little Kutti, and gobbled it up. He smacked his lips, licked his fingers, wiped them on his shirt and crept out of the kitchen when the lights went out. Our dear little Kutti comes into the dark kitchen, reaching out for her korikatte. But where was it? Where was Kutti's korikatte? It was in Kumar's belly, of course. But Kutti searches for the korikatte and then, there it was, soft and plump. Just as she was about to pop it into her mouth, the korikatte moved. How can a korikatte move? Wondered Kutti. Just then she heard Amma's voice. Children, I'm home. Kutti calls out to her Amma. Amma! Amma! Can a korikatte move? Does a korikatte have a long tail? Asked Kutti. Tail? No, Kutti, said Amma. So children, tell me this. What do you think Kutti picked up? Why don't we listen to a song and find out?
My Karadi has a long, long tail. It has teeth sharp as my fingernails. It has a wet nose, a ear, an eye. Amma, is this my Karadi? Amma, Amma. My Karadi is soft as my cheeks. It has whiskers, and oh, it squeaks. It wriggles around. I don't know why. Amma, is this my Karadi? Sharp as my fingernails. It has a wet nose, a ear, an eye. Amma, is this my Karadi? My Karadi is soft as my cheeks. It has whiskers, and oh, it squeaks. It wriggles around. I don't know why. Amma, is this my Karadi? My Karadi.
Amma rushed into the kitchen, and as soon as she reached, the lights came on. There stood Kutti with a fat piece of string hanging out of her mouth. Amma ran to Kutti, grabbed the string and pulled. And pop came out a tiny white mouse. "Ah!" screamed Amma, dropping the mouse, which scurried away into its hole in the wall. "Ah! Ah! 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 Ah!" screamed 6 other voices. "Amma! Amma!" wailed little Kutti. "My Karadi has run away." "Don't worry, Kutti," said Amma, pulling out a jar from her bag. The jar was filled with Karadis. One was for Kannan, one was for Komu, one was for Kuyil, one was for Kartik, one was for Kausi, one was for Kumar, and 2 were for little Kutti, and 2 were for little Kutti. So children, I really hope you enjoyed this story. When I listened to it, I could not stop laughing. Also, be careful to look at your food before you pop it into your mouth. I hope you all enjoyed the storytelling session by Karadi Path. Do enjoy all the other lovely sessions in the fest. Bye!
Zooma integrates the proven Karadi Path methodology with the best of child-friendly technology to create a powerful, immersive learning environment for the child. The Zooma experience is the perfect balance between the real and virtual worlds, helping you make the best use of your child's screen time. 24 hours of the immersive Zooma reading experience can give your child a 2-grade jump in their reading skills. With Zooma, your child learns to zoom through texts, to decode at a fast pace, and zoom in on them for deep comprehension. From being a supporting actor in your child's learning, are you ready to become the director?